सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुं पुराम्। ओम निधे सर्वविद्यानां विजयवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यैरिमे गुरुवे पूर्वमद्वाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याता सर्ववेदान्तः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ओम ओम भव एव भवानिति मे निद्रां समजायत चेतसि कौतुकिता मम वायं उरयं मोहमहाजलधिं भवशङ्करदेशिक मे शरणम्। समस्त ब्रह्मविद्याचार्येभ्यो नमः। मण्डूकमहर्षये नमः। गौडपादाचार्याय नमः। आद्यशङ्करद्गुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम अथ अथर्ववेदान्तर्गतमाण्डूक्योपनिषत् शान्तिमन्त्रः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गये स्तुष्ट्वागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। अथ चतुर्थ प्रकरणमलाथ शांति प्रकरणम्। हरि ओम। Salutations to the entire Mandukya Upanishad Acharya Parampara, to Bhagavan Adi Shankara, also to our Gaudapada Bhagavan, Manduka Rishi as well as Atharva Rishi. In this present context, the ALAATHA Shanti Prakaranam, the fourth of the Mandukya Upanishad, in the shlokas of 65, 66, 67, etc., the theme that is discussed is self alone is real. Other than the self, be attentive. The world, which is nothing but the expression of these two called as experiencer and experienced do. That also in the chitta, because of the spandana of the chitta, which is uncalled for, which has no purpose at all. All that is not there. What is there is only Paramatma. That. So, what is the main thing? You are experiencing it at the gross level, therefore you are taking it as real. But at the highest logical, scriptural, meditational level, though they are experienced, but they are found to be illusory, unreal, non-existent. Wherever we see the world experienced, exactly there we experience Paramatma only, without an iota of worldliness in him. That's called as liberation or realization. That is what is talked here. First, the example of Swapna is taken and exhaustively explained. Then the same thing is told for the waking also. Saramsh kya hua? This is the breakthrough in Vedanta. Only this is the one when we sort out, when we tackle, when we understand, when we achieve, Vedanta is completed. Only 3 steps. One, the entire world is there only because there is Chitta in its Spandana. Second, Chitta Spandana is there because of I, the conscious self. Without me, the Chitta is not there. Without Chitta, Jagat is not there. Therefore, there is nothing other than Chitta called as Jagat. There is nothing other than nothing other than Paramatma called as Chitta. What is there is only Paramatma. So, in the highest logic level, we are rejecting the presence of the Chitta and Spandana created Abhasa called as Jagat. And it is personal, it is individual. You can talk about it in public, but everybody is not deserving it or they can't understand, they are not at that level. For them, happy to be in the Vyavahara Jagat, little Upasana Puja they do, and uska phal to milta hai. Because that's a part of mind only. They are happy with that. Is it not? Like I will be happy in my own house. It's my own imagination. So I create my house. It's on my own imagination. And then I'm happy in my house. That is what is my imagination. Constructed house. It has nothing to do with the truth. But still you can be happy by having your own house because you made it like that. You have got concept like that. That's what the Vedanta says. Vedanta's highest is what? There's no world unless you desire for it. Unless you do sankalpa for it. There's no world unless other than your own sankalpa. They would stop sankalpa, world disappears. What remains is nirvikalpa Paramatma. As simple as that is Vedanta. But we can't be without sankalpa because lot of desires, vasanas, habits, forces, and obligations that everybody is living in this world. Why not me? Actually, there's no everybody. You are the only one who is there. No, no, I have family, friends. Because you are accepting they are there, they are there. Otherwise, nobody. छोड़ के जाओ सबको वाराणसी. They will be so happy. They will celebrate only. These are very sublime thoughts. Hmm. Then, what is to be now logically proved is what? Ki pure consciousness alone is there. First thing. That is the real self. In that, there is nothing other than it. But now, at our present experiential level, we are experiencing Jagat. Okay. Now, between these two, I am experiencing the outer Jagat. I am a self who is one without second. Between two, there is another stage to which we have to come to. Come to from the world level. What is that? Chitta is the one which is containing Prapancham. Okay? Where is Jagat now? In the Chitta. Only then the next step is taken into. And in that Chitta, in what form the Jagat is there? Only two. The experiencer and experienced. If you can prove the experiencer and experienced are illusory, then the Chitta on which these two are imagined also is illusory. Then what remains is pure Chitta. This is called as logical highest contemplation. Then that you have to live. Vedanta is to be lived. Lived, not left. To be left, nahi, lived. Live in such way only. There is nothing as a chitta or jagat. I alone am there. Okay, that is what is proved in these 3-4 shlokas. Very sublime, beautiful, though a little complicated, but the highest level of knowledge it is. Again, I am saying you can't talk about it in public outside. Actually, there is no public only. You are there. When you establish in the experience, you will not talk outside. When you don't experience, you should not talk outside. This is such very secret knowledge. Even I can't talk to you because there's nobody to talk other than me. Yet, at a Vyavahar level, this trick of Maya continues in the form of the solution for samsara, also in the form of these Vedas and Shastra. Otherwise, uski zarurat nahi hai, ultimate level. Chalo. So what is the mantra? What is the literal meaning? Yesterday we saw Bhashyam, we will see. Mantra number 67. Ubehi anyonya dushyete kim tad asti iti na uchyate lakshana sunya mubhayam tanmate naiva gruhyate. Ubehi anyonya dushyete kim tad asti iti noচ্यते lakshana sunya mubhayam tanmate naiva gruhyate. As much as possible, try to understand this mantra deeply and try to live the meaning of this mantra. Sadhana is happening. So, first understanding. What is said in the 4 parts of this mantra? What is Bhashya? First, Ubhehi Anyonya Dushyete. Te Ubhe Anyonya Drushye. Those two, the experiencer and experienced, which are there in the chitta, there are anyonya drushya. So this is drushya for that is drushya for this. This depends on that depends on this. Point 1. Second is, kim tad asti. So what, by asking or saying so, ki ube anyonya drushya, what do you want to convey? Purva Pakshi is asking. Siddhanta says, asti iti nacha uchyate. Therefore, their astitva that cannot be established independent. Anything which is independent, that alone is asti. Anything which is dependent on that on which it is dependent, that is asti, but that is not asti. Is it not? Like the door, is it independent or dependent? It is dependent on what? On the wood or plastic or the metal, whatever the way you make it. Therefore, the metal in the door, wood in the door is the asti satyama. Actually, the door is nasti. Hmm. So here, in this, both of experiencer and experiencer, none of them are independent. इंडिपेंडेंट है तो ही अस्थि कह सकते हैं. दे आर नॉट इंडिपेंडेंट, म्यूचुअली डिपेंडेंट, देखो नास्ति. दिस इज व्हाट लॉजिक. When I give the example of door, it is very clear. Door is nasty. What there is plastic or wood. So too, these two are mutual dependent. Therefore, they are not independent. If it is not independent, it is not asti. Therefore, kim tata asti iti na uchyate. Second one. Te hube anyonya drushye. Therefore, na asti uchyate. Third one is what? Then one more logic is what? Lakshana shunyam. Means कोई लक्षण आवृत्ति or any of the pramana vyapara cannot establish the presence of the drashta and drushya, jnata and neyam in the antakarana. That we will see in the bhashya time. And if then lakshana shunya hai, therefore there is no authority to prove its presence. Pramana vyapara nahi hai. Still, why they are experienced? That is the $1,000,000 point. Tan matena eva gruhyate. Tan matena means what? It is your mati only. It is which is making it appear. Just like a simplest example. What is that making the appearance or presence of snake in the rope? Your own mati. In reality, there is no snake. Never ever the rope appeared, disappeared. हमेशा है. कहाँ है सांप? तुम्हारे दिमाग में है भैया. तन मते नहीं हुआ. It's your own sankalpa that the snake is there. In the same way, in the sankalpa only these two are there, but in reality they are not there. Tad na asti eva. The entire Dvaita world. That's why if it is not there like this, no, then realization is never possible. Why? Because the world is there and I can't eliminate it, then when will I realize? अगर दुनिया है तो उसको कोई निकाल नहीं सकता, तो फिर मुक्ति कहाँ होगी, आत्मज्ञान कहाँ होगा? Two things: world is not there. Second is you only imagined it. Third, you can de-imagine or remove the imagination and drop the world. Then only the self is possible, and that is how self is possible, and that's how many people made self possible by doing this. Tanmatena eva gruhyate is the sentence we are trying to explain. Tat matena eva gruhyate. Yesterday we gave so many examples. He is a friend. There is no friend in you, there is no friend in that fellow. But he is your friend in your mati, which will continue as long as the things are favorable. One day it just gets broken for no reason or any reason or every reason. ऐसी चीजों में ना कोई रीजन नहीं होता, रीजन दिखता है, आप रीजनिंग करते हो. Like the two people very closely related. Then one day they got separated. One type of separation is fighting. Another type of separation is dying. Another type of separation is transferring. Another type of separation is vairagya. Each one looks at one reason, but the actual thing is what? It has to separate. The reasoning is you gave. Why it is got separated? It's not reality. If it is real, it can't go away from you. If it is not real, it can never stay permanently with you. I'm giving an example. Tan mate naiva gruhyate. It's your own mati. मति में नहीं है तो दुनिया ही नहीं है, द्वैत नहीं है, एक ही आत्मा है. So Now the ball he is putting in the court of the Purvapakshi only. ये तुम्हारे मति में है मान के भावना है इसलिए है. Like in this Ukraine and Russia war, everything is in the mind only. And Russia is afraid कि if Ukraine goes to the NATO, then they'll put all their arm ammunition. Within 3 seconds, they can destroy by Russia. It's all in his mati. Same is with these people, America and all. And in the same mati of them, if that highest maturity is there, then they sit and cordially take this long decision, steps per long decision that next 200 years तक हम एक दूसरे से किसी भी कारण से लड़ेंगे नहीं. All these लड़ाइयाँ तभी चले जाते हैं जब we maintain all the differences for व्यवहार, but heart in heart when we accept all are human beings. That is why, if you believe or not, one very adbhuta sentence I will share it with you today. That it's only one and only one thing called as Advaita Brahma Tattva that can unite the world. No other thing can unite, not even religions. Religions तो fighting ही कर रहे हैं, अलग कर रहे हैं. The true Ekameva Advayam Brahma concept, which is a reality actually, when that is being propagated, only from that standpoint the unity can be brought. Thus, all problems can be solved. The problem of quarrels come because of division. Divisions will be continued as long as undivided self is not accomplished or achieved or attended or talked about. There's no way. कुछ भी करो. That is the ultimate solution, whether you accept it or not. But even the व्यवहार level में हम क्या कह रहे हैं कि तन्मते नैव गृह्यते. And as long as that insistence of that mati is there, it will continue. When it changes, it changes. देखो, America was always suppressing India and somewhat supporting Pakistan. That was उसकी मति वैसी थी. अब Twin Tower blast हो गया, then they make India a friend and try to put check to Pakistan. So Pakistan also taking help of America. Now वो लोग पूछ दिखा रहे, तो now they go behind China. China, Russia are opposite countries, but now both are common enemy. तो दोनों दोस्त हो जाते हैं. So the Europe and all the America should not grow. But they दोनों, which is real in this बताओ? Ukraine, Germany, Russia are one nation only. Russia helped in Ukraine in getting its own state nationhood. In reciprocation, Ukraine gave all the missiles or atomic things to Russia. तो उस समय वो मती चला, अब ये मती है. अब कल को क्या पता यूक्रेन रशिया दोस्त बनकर they may attack NATO nations. When these two presidents either change themselves or new people come, देखो इंडिया में जब नया गवर्नमेंट आया तो पॉलिसीज बदल गए, तो सिनेरियो बदला कि नहीं? वेयर इज इट आई एम आस्किंग इज तन्मते नहीं हुआ. सुबह से शाम तक the presence of all relativity and the presence of those relativities in some or the other particular form, peculiar form, is only because of tanmatena eva. So you love your child, then you become angry, then you become neutral. Hare, every time tanmatena eva. So you hugged because that time tanmate is love. You gave one blast because that time you are in an angry mood. Tanmate naiva. Which is real in that? None of them. Neither beating is real nor loving is real. Because the child itself is unreal. Because you as a jiva himself is unreal. But all this, I am jiva, I am deha, and born to me, they were my child, they were must listen to me. If listens, I love. If not, I'll beat. It is appearing actually so real, but it is appearance. तन्मते नैव गृह्यते. One very secret I'll tell you, it will very be dangerous, blasting wala. What is that? When you said something to your child, he heard. What do you think is, my child has obeyed me? ऐसा नहीं होता. It is your in thought only that you commanded him. It is your thought only is obeyed. एक तो क्या है, that obedience is coincidence. Second is every time he is not obedient. Other time he will retaliate only. Other he'll retaliate. But the retaliation ho, obedience ho. It is your own mind. Like in dream. In dream your child listen to you or disobedient. Child ही dream है वो, उसका obedience भी वही है. उसका disobedience also is projection ना. Same in the Jagrat. But we must have the guts to accept these truths, and they can be done only when we have zero importance value for this world in terms of our sukha. I can get sukha from this world. Even little bit is there. These higher things are not acceptable nor practical. Like when you come to class, you have to sit properly, not like a sofa and all at home. If you don't accept it, you will not come to the class. घर में बैठेंगे, but they is not ready for accepting that. Only when he sacrifices those comforts, he can come to class. In the same way, every vyavahar. Now let us see the bhashyam. Very, very important shloka it is. So as I said yesterday, we'll spend some 10-15 minutes it. Understand? Now, jiva chitte ube chitta chaitye te anyonya drushye itaretara gamye. Hmm? Hmm? So, jiva chitte. Jiva chitte. Jiva means not the jiva in me, I. Here jiva is when he is looking all around in 10 directions. He has seen Andajan, Svedajan, Jivanna in the dream as well as waking. तो waking की बात हो रही. तो jiva means all beings around me. My own friends or relatives whom I call now at the level of ignorance, let us say. So all these jiva, where are they? In my own chitta. So chitta is a seer, jiva is the seer. So jiva chitte, ube chitta chaitye. That's why is explained. Chitta and chaitye. Chitta means the knower, chaitya is known. Chitta chaitye, te anyonya drushye. They look at each other. One becomes drushya, another drashta. That becomes drashta, this becomes drushya. Means what? Itara etara gamye. Means this knows that knows this. This depends on that depends on this. How do you say, sir? Can you explain? देखो, जीव आदि विषय आपेक्षम ही चित्तम नाम भवति. What is chitta? That only where the jivas or vastus etc. are perceived. Without the perception of the objects or the world or the jiva, can the chitta exist too? No, it's like in sleep only. In sleep also it is in bija avastha. Therefore, chitta is in bija avastha. Everything comes out in waking. We should discuss in waking, that answers everything. So in the waking, can any of the perception of the jivas of the world possible without chitta? Question is one. Answer is what? Jiva adi vishaya apeksham hi chittam nama bhavati. ये सारे विषय नहीं है जीवादि तो चित्त होता ही नहीं है. So जीवादि है तो ही चित्त है. This side. That side also chitta apeksham hai jivani drishyam. Without the chitta, can you see the drishya of the jivas? Jiva means he has gone to 10 directions. He has seen Andaja, Svedaja, Jiva and their houses, their objects. पूरा सृष्टि की बात हो रही है यहाँ. So all of them cannot be seen without chitta. Chitta cannot be there without them. चित्त का मतलब ही उसमें कोई ना कोई वृत्तियां परसेप्शंस होना चाहिए. परसेप्शंस हो रहे हैं किसी के वर्ल्ड का मतलब वहां चित्त होना चाहिए. अन्योन्य आपेक्ष. Give 2 minutes time and feel about this sentence, which is the crux of all Vedanta, the first step. Then what he says, chittapeksham hi jivadi drishyam. Atah, therefore, te anyonya drushye. They are mutually dependent on each other. Therefore, each is called a drishya to the other. So don't take drishya, drashta literally here. Mutually dependent they are. If the chitta is not there, you can't perceive the world. If the world is not there, then chitta cannot sustain. Such a vilakshana relation both of them have. Chitta and drishya. Okay? Now, tasmat. Therefore, na kinchit asti iti cha uchyate. Therefore, Both of them are not there. That is what it is said. Chittam va chitta ikshaniyam va. Both chitta and chitta ikshaniya, because both are mutually dependent, both of them are not there, even though they are experienced. You are experiencing, okay. We'll ask you, what are you experiencing? I am experiencing chitta as well as the world, which depends on what. You can never say here. Why? Because this depends on that, that depends on this. Without chitta, the jagat cannot be. Without jagat, chitta cannot be. When these mutually depending two things are there, they are said to be unreal. Both are kalpita. This is what the new thing we have to learn, listen, learn, and add to our knowledge. See, strengthening knowledge which we have already is one aspect, but adding new knowledge is the higher aspect. They being mutually so closely dependent, therefore, which is the substratum of them, which is the cause of them, which is the beginning of them, which is good or greater of them, you can't talk. Therefore, they are unreal only. ये बात को पकड़ने में कुछ टाइम लगता है बुद्धि में. Like, I'm awake, I am closing my eyes. Do I see the world in the chitta or not? Yeah. So where the world is there in your chitta? Do you see the chitta or not? Yeah, I see chitta. Is it bereft or divide a world? No. Even without chitta, the chitta drishyas are not there. Without chitta drishya, chitta is not there. Therefore, so independent, dependent each other. That means in reality both are not there. If they are there, they are mutual dependent. None of them are independent. So in real they are not there. They are in relation they are there. So relativity में हाँ है, वो reality में नहीं है. That is the concept you have to catch. It's like another example. If father is there, therefore son is there. Son is there, therefore father is there. So in reality, both of them are not there. In relativity, both of them are there. That is why at the Stula Sharira level, the father man may be 50 years old and the son man may be 30 years old. But as father and son, they are equally aged. Yeah, because जब वो जन्म लिया तभी ये पिताजी बने कि नहीं. You can't call him as father before the child is born. And that happens in Christianity. यहाँ नहीं होता in general. And when he is born, he cannot be born without father. Therefore, from the moment he is born, then he is child already. You can't deny it. Is it not? Like, introduce, she is my wife. Acha, how old is she? 3 years old. What is, how can she be 3 years old? Yeah, 3 years only we married. Before that, she was not my wife. I am introducing as wife. So, as wife, she is 3 years only. Interesting. Is it not a higher truth? But are we ready to accept it? We laugh at it, but it is the truth. Truth always ऐसा ही होता है. You have to. The truth is so beautiful and different that we are habituated to the untrue. Therefore, we like this only. Is it not? Father and son example में both are either equal aged and both are relative and dependent on each other. Therefore, both of them are not there. He is man, he is man. That's it. Father cannot be without son. He cannot be called. Son cannot be without father. He cannot be born. Mutual dependent. Therefore, both are relatively there, really nahi there. ये पकड़ो. This is why I'm repeating same thought 3-4 times last 5-10 minutes. In mutual relativity they are there. Relativity में, but reality में नहीं है. Why reality में नहीं है? To say that it is a reality में, it should be independent. To say that it is there really, it should be independent. Is it not? Like chair and plastic. Chair is independent नहीं है, dependent है. Therefore, chair is unreal. But the plastic can be there without being chair also. Therefore, plastic is real. That real plastic can be made into another table also in another shape. You understand that way? This चित्त में जो दोनों है, the knower and known, knower cannot be without known, known cannot be without knower. If they are independent, they have to be without the depending on others. So can there be the chitta without the world? No. The world without the chitta? No. Therefore, independently they are not there. They are not there really. Real thing is independent. Reality is independent, not dependent. That's what Vedanta says. Relatively, it may be there, Baba. Because it is there in relativity, it cannot be in reality. And reality is not relative, need not be relative. That is what he is trying to say. कि तस्मात् न किंचित अस्ति इति च उच्यते चित्तं वा चित्त ईक्षणीयं वा किं तत् अस्ति इति विवेकिना उच्यते. So the Viveki says because they are relatively dependent on each other, not absolutely, therefore absolutely they are not there. Is it not? Without the chitta, can the world be there? No. Therefore, without the chitta, can the world be there independently? No. Therefore, world is not there. Without the world, can the chitta be there? Without the world, can the chitta be independently there? No. Therefore, chitta is not there. This is how we are logically reaching to a higher understanding. It has nothing to do with Vyavahara. Vyavahara is very funny. It just has no logic, no purpose. We only induce logic and purpose. Already we saw in the earlier sloka. It's only insistence. Already we have transcended that. We have come to a level, mind world is mind projected and mind's insistence the world is there. Which have already yavat hetu phalavesha, tavat hetu phalodaya, shine hetu phalavesha, nasta hetu phalodbhava. We already discussed it. Keep it in mind. I give many time example. I insist therefore classes continue. Classes are not real. Because any day I stop, and your insistence making you come regularly. One day you decide not to come, it's over. कोई सत्य नहीं है इधर. वो बात हम देख चुके हैं. आप बता रहे because of their mutual relativity, what is proved is they are not there independently. Independently they are not there. Kim tadesti nahi viveki vihi. What you have to underline is viveki. The highly subtly viveka doing person thinks in this sublime way that if a thing has to exist, it should exist independently. So the chitta, if it is existing, it should exist independently. But chitta cannot be without the objects in it. In the expressed form in Jagrata Swapna, in the inexpressed bija form in the Sushupti. Therefore, chitta independent of the Jagat is not there. So to is the Jagat there, it cannot be without the chitta. Therefore, they are existing in their mutual dependency, mutual relativity. The chitta and the world are existing in their own mutual dependency and relativity. That is the cause of their being there. In reality, both of them are not there. I am waiting for you to catch it. Let it take its time because this is ultimate. Then the consequences are once clearly we are convinced about it, then we will not run behind the world like we were running. Then all the struggles, the tensions, etc., go away. Accordingly, the mind becomes calm and quiet. In the calm and quiet mind, if both are not existing, then what is that on which these two are superimposed? One can become capable of focusing on that. That is Paramatma. And that unfortunately cannot be told in any way. That is why the entire struggle, no? It should not be told, it only should be experienced. आत्मा के बारे में बोल सकते थे तो बोल के दुकान खत्म करेंगे ना. कर नहीं सकते क्योंकि बोलने वाली बात नहीं है because it's not an object. Therefore it has to be experienced. So to push us into our own experience, the other two things called as chitta and the jagat, which were imagination, which are just becoming an obstruction to the self, they are rejected. Some with the karma yoga, some with the ashtanga yoga, some with the Bhakti Yoga, and here the final one with the Yukti Yoga or the logic yoga. This is very important. Again, I am saying father and son can never be real. Why? They are relative. Relatively, they are there, but really, they are not there. Because really, father and son is there. Everybody should be father and son in reality. क्योंकि रियलिटी मीन्स सब जगह पे वो लागू होना है कि नहीं. इट इज हाफ पे सम प्लेस एडेड सम प्लेस नॉट. इट इज नॉट रियलिटी. रियलिटी मतलब सबके लिए लो, लाइक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया इज फॉर एवरी सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया. So to truth the reality should be valid. If the father is real, he should have been father right from birth onwards. Or everybody should be a father. नहीं है. Only जब पुत्र जन्म हुआ conditional है, then his father. Child is unreal because without a father, child is not born. Child also is right from the birth is dependent only. He is not independently born. Anything which exists independently alone is reality. Reality is independent of everything. That's the point. Relatively, yeah, they are all there. That is why all of us are relatives, not absolutes. Absolute is only Paramatma. We give absolute value to the relative. That's why we suffer. And that day when it clicks, all this relative, not absolute. Therefore, I should not try to make it absolute. You are liberated from everything. Is it not like somebody at this level of your maturity enters into your life? You become conscious. That person is entering. Is absolute or real relative? He can never be absolute. Absolute is my own self. So it's relative. Relative means what? Not absolute. Means what? It is temporary. Therefore, for what purpose they are coming? Can I help them in that what? When they come to my life, do I get any benefit from them for my own vyavahara or dharma or sadhana? Up to that much, I'll give value relative. But in reality, beyond that, I will not stretch. Then you are liberated. Being with that person, doing that job. That's what everybody does. I told you, in the bank, hundreds of people come and go. So they are only relatively dealing with them. चेहरा भी नहीं देखते उनको. Form देखा भर दिया. In the ticket giving counter of railway station, do you think that ticket giver looks at the face of everybody? अब देखता भी नहीं. 3 टिकट को ये लड्डू देने में तिरुपति में 5 लड्डू. He'll not even look at the face. Work is going on. That attitude is liberation right from first in the beginning from the bondage of the worldly and worldly attachments. Half of liberation. The second half, then what is absolute if this is relative? That is your own inner meditation. Self. Okay. Kim tad asti iti vivekina uchyate. What that? Chittam va chittekshणीयं va kim tad asti iti vivekina uchyate. Oh no, what a beautiful example. You have to be careful while listening example. What is that? Na hi swapne hasti chittam va vidyate. In dream, there is a chitta. In the chitta, there is a hasti is seen. Because already we have concluded entire dream world is in dream chitta of the dreamer. Dreamer had his chitta. In that chitta, world is there. It's already proved. Because there is no other world there, subtle gross world like we see Jagrata. But when you wake up, is there the dream elephant real? No. The dream chitta in which the elephant was there real? No. Therefore, swapne na hasti chittam va vidyate. Be careful to stop and understand that example of dream. That is explained from the waking standpoint. And all Vedanta is told to tell us to wake up to the ultimate truth. When I have not woken up now, I am in a dream, I take the hasti as real. And that hasti is in my own chitta. काम चलता है वैसे चित्त रूपी हस्ती से. But when you have woken up, where is the chitta? नहीं है. Where is hasti? नहीं है. That's what he says. Tata iha api vivekina. In the same way, is in waking also to the person who is able to do the highest viveka, taking the help of dreamer. Dream example. And should not talk publicly it outside. Because no need. It is to be lived inside. You live that principle and get liberated. Vocally बोलने की क्या जरूरत है? If you are saying vocally, means you are accepting somebody's presence. Then you yourself are contradicting your speech, your thought or your knowledge that nothing other than me is there. So just be with yourself and live in that. व्यवहार जो है जो होने दो. न तत्कथम. Answer is lakshana shunyam. There are no lakshana or pramana to establish chitta in saitya. Lakshate anaya iti lakshana pramana. That by which that is known is called the pramana of it. That's called lakshana here. लक्षणा या प्रमाण नहीं है. चित्त चैत्य दोनों को देखने. चित्त मीन्स द चित्त, चैत्य मीन्स द ऑब्जेक्ट which is there in the चित्त. Both of them are imagination and conscious self. That is the goal. Not they are not real. Conscious self alone is real. That is the goal we have to achieve it. That is already there. What is the problem with the people or the द्वैतिन्स? They say परमात्मा ही द्वैत के रूप में है. हम कह रहे हैं द्वैत है ही नहीं है, जो है अद्वैत परमात्मा ही. So they give us all example. देख रहे हो तुम बात कर रहे हो. You are talking to, I am talking to this Guru, Shishya, Shastra, God, Upasana, temple, bell in the temple. So much of Dvaita you are seeing. How it is not there, my dear? That's what Dvaitins. Advaitin says, बेटा ये सब व्यवहार में है, ये सब तुम्हारे चित्त में है, ये सब तुमने कल्पना किया इसलिए है, ये सब इसलिए क्योंकि वासनाएं है, इसलिए इसलिए कि माया है, ये सब इसलिए है क्योंकि अविद्या है. तो तब तक रहेगा जब तक आत्मविद्या नहीं होगा. If you have the Atma-vidya, avidya is gone. Avidya gone is Maya gone. Maya gone is Chitta gone. Chitta gone means the entire things are not there. So Dvaitin actually is at such a grossest level, at the outermost layer of higher understanding. When he says, I am seeing everything. No, Advaitin is asking, why? You are seeing, where are you seeing them? That is what spirituality, that is what Vedanta, that is becoming subtler. See, when I am touching this wall, where I am touching the wall, if I say I am touching the wall there, then I am at Dvaiti. I am at the gross level of logic. What is subtle level? I am touching the wall in my hand. More subtler than what I am touching the wall in the mind. Reverse karo, without the mind, the hand cannot be there of touch sparsha. Without the hand, I can't touch the wall. Therefore, where is the wall? In the hand. Where is the hand? In the mind. Can they be independent? Can be the wall and hand be independent of the mind? No. Like Nidra में हाथ जाकर दीवार पे गिरा, मन नहीं है, so you don't even imagine that. Therefore, Vedanta in what he says, therefore mind alone is wall and hand. This is the thing where we have to jump into a subtle understanding. Because without mind they are not there. But mind is there without them. Mind is going everywhere. Next level में जाते हैं, the mind cannot be without consciousness. Therefore, wherever the mind there is, consciousness is there. Therefore, among these two, which is real, consciousness is there even when there is no mind, like in dream or sleep. Therefore, the conscious self is reality. Now, the last question. Then, where from this unreal thing is born? Conscious self as it is when it is not accepted. This, yeah. Everywhere. Where is a friend born? You are not accepting that person as a human being. Therefore, friend is born. Where is friend? On the human being only superimposed. Which is reality among them? The human being is real, not the friend. Because he is friend only to you. But for somebody else, he is an enemy. For somebody is brother. But for everybody, commonly is a human being. Therefore, human being is reality. Hmm? Example. In the same way, the Vedantin says the consciousness is reality, beta. All other is imagined. Now, this knowledge, as much strong it becomes, so much it blesses us. To become, make it stronger, we have to think, we have to read, we have to contemplate, even we have to live in that way only. माया क्या है? तुम स्पिरिचुअल बनना चाहते हो तो स्पिरिचुअल बन सकते हैं, संसारी बनना चाहते हो तो संसारी रह सकते, दैट्स माया. In spiritual also, you can stick to Dvaita of the Upasana, you can continue. You can reach to Advaita, want to Advaita, you can reach to Advaita. This is Maya. But choice may, instead of worldly, you choose spiritually, the world of problem goes away. In the spirituality, if you choose Advaita and give up the Dvaita, Dvaita problem goes away. In Advaita, there cannot be problem. Because to create a problem, something else should be there. To create problem, to create troubles, to condition you, to limit you. There should be something other than na. Devi yoga. In Advaita, there is no such thing. Therefore, it is always no problem. In Dvaita, definitely there is problem because other will limit you. When you choose Advaita, Maya acts positively to give you liberation by itself dissolving. When you choose Dvaita, Maya actively takes role to bind us. If you take the Dvaita, think about it. So katham lakshana shunyam lakshate anaya iti lakshana pramanam. No pramana shunyam ubhayam. Both of them don't have pramana for their own independent existence. This is what another logic crux. Chitta and the vrittis in the chitta. That's called chaitya, which is the entire world. So, iti lakshana pramanam pramana shunyam ubhayam chittam chaityam dvayam. This is the final conclusion. They independently cannot be proved. They are dependently there, which they are whenever there are two things which are dependent, they are relative. When they are relative, they are not absolute. Absolute means it should be independent. That is why independent thing is only Paramatma. It doesn't depend on anything. That is why it is alone reality. Now, this is the logic of Mandukya, Alatha Shanti towards the end. Where do we stand? तत्वबोध level में नहीं है हम. We are not Veda Nityam Aditam Tadutam Karma Swanushtiyatam. Even at that level, we have not got changed. These logics are super bouncers for us. But only an idea is given as to when you study the Upanishads with Mandukya Karika and all, how the sublime highest knowledge is given. But a pandya ke liye you have to have dare and courage also. You should have the ability to give up the lower also. This is such a dangerous knowledge that it cuts around all the emotions, all the relativities. Are you ready for it? Then you are the most fit person for this one. नहीं है तो this will be very painful, very heavy, very difficult, very sad. अरे कोई नहीं है मेरे नाम में तो रह नहीं सकता. Then you go for Rama Krishna Bhajana. How can there be anything other than me? I alone am sun and moon and stars and oceans. There's no all those things. They're all my own imagination, my own projection, my own Maya. None of them can be there without me. This can be done only when we cut asunder our relativity. If we have the relativity, like I have this deha and this is me, therefore to this deha, born are these children, is a husband, is in-law, outlaw. You live at this level only. You can't go to that. That's why we should pray, oh Lord, next life, make me free from all these clutches, all these bondages, so that I can reach to my essential real self. And towards that, we also have to pursue. Only two things we have to do. We said it 1,000 times. Any people who are going away from our life, thank you करके उनको जाना दो. Any new people who are coming into our life, don't allow them to come. Inside your heart. In Vyavahara, it's okay. There is no creation of new relativity. Come what may. Otherwise, your mind will be pulled towards that only. Like yesterday, you became friend to somebody. Day before, you never had a thought or headache of that fellow. Yesterday, with your friend. Today, your mind is only on that. Pagal hai? You are jumping from one teacher to the other only. In Telugu, there is a kahavat. పెనం నుంచి పొయ్యిలో పడ్డాం మీ తవేసి జాకర్ चूल्हे में गिरना. अरे that is what the two things we have to do. This is a price we have to pay to reach to the absolute self. If you have that price to pay, pay and reach. If you don't have, then you earn that money somehow, then do it. And to make us become qualified for this, only the Bhagwan puts the entire experiences of the world. All the disappointment, dejections, all of them are to turn out toward the Lord only through the Vairagya. All the Sukha Ananda also are to turn toward the self by asking, ki, because of whose presence the Sukha Dukkha are coming. It's Atma presence only, na? Therefore, a sadhaka in both Sukha and Dukkha turns mind to Paramatma. For a Siddha Purusha, there is no Sukha Dukkha, it is only Ananda. And every Sukha Dukkha, the one who is giving value to the world and himself, is a Pakka Samsari. Like you gave me some Sukha by some respect. So thank you very much. Now onwards, you are my friend. If I say I am a Pakka Samsari. If I say the Lord only has sent Sukha through you, then I am a devotee. And this Sukha I am experiencing because the self in me, then I am a knowledgeable person. This the test came to me. So too you give Dukkha. So the Dukkha also came to me from Paramatma. It he gave. Just is reminding me. And the Dukkha Anubhuti also happening inside me because of Paramatma. So the person you, the Sukha Dukkha given by you, and I, the Sukhi Dukhi, all of them are devoured. Paramatma only remembered. That is called sadhana. It appears to be very new, very peculiar, very different, and definitely it is different from the earlier samsara. Doing things differently, only sadhana, no? Differently means liberating manner. That's not sadhana then. Who told you that study all Shastra and again continue to be trapped in the relativity is called sadhana? So Shastra about trapped in relativity. Who told it is sadhana? It's only you're adding some more heavy load that you also studied the Veda Upanishad. In fact, the one who studies Upanishad and Bhagavata and still in the world as samsari is most worst and wrong example to other people. Therefore, if you study Vedanta Upanishad, give up relativity and dukkha. If you can't do that, stop studying and don't claim as sadhaka. These are all bitter truths, but truths are always bitter. You know, sugar is very sweet, but that is what kills all our vital organs by diabetes. But bitter gourd is very bitter, but that is what is saving your life. Every day you have bitter gourd, you have methi. Daily khao, sugar control mein rehta hai. So too, this bitter Vedanta, when you are there, the sugar looking attachments, etc., are in control. Are you ready for that? So that is what is that. Pramana shunye ubhayam chittam chaityam dvayam yataha. Now, tan matena eva, tat chittataya eva tad gruhyate. The pure, this is the crux of it. If it is no, this sentence is understood, you will jump in joy with ecstasy, such like just like that Ukrainian soldiers started dancing when they have destroyed the tankers of the Russians. It is like an achievement only to them. Few tankers they have burst, they are starting. Same is this one sentence. Tan matena eva tat chittataya eva tat gruhyate. The entire Mandukya Upanishad or entire spiritual sadhana or entire question of bondage and liberation is only in this sentence. Tat chittataya eva tat gruhyate. In the main sentence of Karika, tanmate naiva gruhyate. Usko Shankar Bhagavan in his Bhashya is explaining tat chittataya eva gruhyate. What is the meaning of tat chittataya eva gruhyate? You are hooked on to that sort of imagination and thinking. Thinking itself is imagination. That is why self is not imagination. Therefore, you can't think about it. Nothing other than thinking you can do about world. Therefore, world is always imaginary. Just like example I gave you, the person came. So you feel like becoming friendly with him. That feeling is called as tachittataya. So too, like doesn't look like properly. Therefore, feel like being enemy to him. Both are your chitta. The person's friendship, enmity, both are created by chitta. In that person, none of them are there in your mind about that person. Yeah. An extension of this is what? Even the presence of that person in front of you also is a chitta. That chitta gone through modification. What? First that chitta became the world. Okay? The world became many dehendriya manobuddhyadi. Then in that with this it is identified. Obviously the other also is taken, seen but taken as other. Now why other person is other to me? Because I took this as me. Like why Indians are friends? Pakistanis nahi hai. Because I took I am as Indian. But expand karo, in being an Indian is more limited than being a global citizen. Because after being global only, you have become part of India. Because India is part of globe. India cannot be independent of globe. Globe can continue without India. Therefore, anything which is seen is projected by me and then given reality by me and relatively related by me and trying to make that relative as reality by me, that is samsara. No, these are all not sorted out externally. Like बाहर का कोई problem है तो बाहर technical problem you solve technically. No, this is the problem of wrong understanding. That will be sorted out only by the right understanding. That is never achieved in the activities of the world outside. All these achieved in the contemplation on the seat of contemplation or meditation. And the concluding thought for you for the day before we take up Gita third chapter. Till we reach to this level of Shastrokta and logical contemplation, neither we can solve the problems of the world, nor we can solve the problem called as the world. And the problem is only in the world, not in the self. Worldly problem goes only when the world goes away. So remove the world, then problem are gone. Self is always there. It's like as long as Ukraine is there, Russia thinks it's a problem. Therefore, either Ukraine should be under my control or should be eliminated. So do America thinks about Russia. India thinks about China. China thinks about India. No, it's all Vedanta only. But the problem is, outside you cannot destroy. That is wrong. You have to destroy in your own misunderstanding. If you don't destroy in your misunderstanding the right understanding, you may eliminate India and occupy India, let the China do. But when the whole उसमें से फिर अंदर से differences आएंगे ना, because outer matter is unstable. Remember, it goes on changing. When it changes, you don't like it. अब देखो आंखों के सामने ईस्ट जर्मनी वेस्ट जर्मनी they came together. Again there are ruptures in between. क्यों आए हम साथ में? North Korea, South Korea, from long time they want to be together, but they have their own hesitations. How they all the bordering nations of India are loving India now. They want to merge back. That's why I say don't try to occupy POK like the Russia doing Ukraine or China is trying to do to Taiwan. That's not our system. We just love the world. The whole world should merge in India. Land occupancy is diplomacy. It depends on the external things. But the deeper thing is what? Every nation should tell that we should merge in India. And merging in India is not geographically. If all of them adopt what is there in the roots of India, then they all have merged in India only, no? जहाँ भी रहो इंडिया क्या कहते हैं सबका भला सबका हाथ सबका साथ. If you adapt that, you have merged with India only. There is nothing called India other than the concepts or the principles. India is not geography, no? It is a culture, tradition. Culture, tradition means knowledge, wisdom, principles. You adopt them. दैट्स व्हाट इंडिया से तो अपने अपने देश में रहो हम सत्य बोल रहे हैं इसको फॉलो करो तो तुम्हें मुक्ति मिलती है वी डोंट इवन क्लेम दैट वी आर द गिवर्स like yesterday that news the Pakistanis were holding Indian flag therefore what India is great why India great they are great that in spite of that they have said India great I say they are great than ours because there can be a position where If this problem happens with China, then China, Pakistan are friends. Then Indians will have to hold Pakistan flag. If you see narrowly, you will be biased. If you see broadly, you say somehow they are saved. That's all. That is important. And because we are biased, they are Pakistan, we are Indians. That's how दो चार बच्चों को बचा दिया तो बड़ा मीडिया न्यूज बना देती हूँ. No, that instigates the Pakistanis to say, तुम बच्चे लोग मरना चाहिए था इंडिया का फ्लैग लेकर क्यों इंडिया में आ गए हो? All these nonsense के लिए वो leader. It's not a diploma. It's not a dignity highest. We see that is a way for them to come out. Some facility came. For some reason, Russia agreed to send Indians safely. So those people, somehow the Pakistani government could not help on time for whatever reasons. But those children are together, they came out. उसको बतंगड़ बनाने क्या बात है उधर? In every case, it is like that. All the world ka reality, in that world the variety, in that the differences, everything is tat chittataya eva tad gruhyate. And that is why every human being every day, having created his own world with his own chitta throughout the day, gets fed up so much with his own creation that he will be happy, peaceful only when he kicks all that world and enters into sleep. Even your contemplation meditation also you will leave and enter into sleep. That is more joyful than this contemplation. But the contemplation, it leads to the self experience. That bliss is million times more than nidra. Well, nidra is conditional and all. That difference anyway always there. Atma anubhuti is ever greater than any anubhuti. More than samadhi, more than nidra and all. Anyway, correction I am doing, but addition I am doing, otherwise you will misunderstand it. Therefore, Swamiji every day in meditation will sleep. I think that is better than contemplation. No. So here coming to the point, chitta tat chittataya eva tat gruhyate. Example. Nahi ghatamatim pratyakhyaya ghatah gruhyate. Na api ghatam pratyakhyaya ghatamatihi. Is it not? Without the ghata being there, the thought of ghata will not be there. Pot. Without the pot, you cannot have thought of pot. Without the thought of pot, the pot cannot be there. Now, what is the Vedantic logic is there is a pramana prameya vyavahara independently. There is only mutual dependency only. Therefore, nahi tatra pramana prameya veda shakyate kalpayitum iti abhiprayah. Wherever the pramana prameya veda is establishment is not there according to Vedanta, it is called Bhranti or Mithya. Through pramana. And what pramana? Pratyaksha pramana, Anumana, Shastra pramana, all of that. And if you transcend all upadhis and see pratyaksha pramanena, you will see everything as self. That is there always for Vedanta. Vedanta कहता है कोई भी प्रमाण जिससे आप देख रहे हो ना सब प्रमाणों को छोड़ो डायरेक्टली देखो लकीली डायरेक्टली देखो एवरीथिंग शुद्ध चैतन्य आत्मा ओनली tatra pratyaksham chaitanyam eva. Anyway, that being little subtler, let's conclude with this simple understanding what very sublime. Entire world is in chitta. Chitta is in conscious self. Without conscious self, chitta cannot be. Without chitta, world cannot be there. Not knowing conscious self as it is alone is making chitta to appear. And the spandana in the chitta is making the world appear. Chitta spandana will be there always as long as vasanas are there. Vasanas are formed as long as you value the world. Therefore, devaluing the world at one level is sadhana. Reducing the vasanas through karma yoga is another sadhana. Not having new vikalpas or kalpanas at the sadhana of the chitta, not allowing to have any spandana in it. Same time, trying to be near to that pure conscious Satchidananda is another sadhana. When all of them are simultaneously done, then the thing to be achieved is achieved. What is achieved? The unreal world disappears, the real self experienced. In these aspects, first of all, we have to have conviction. For the sake of conviction and remembrance, with conviction, if you sit for meditation to realize, and with the remembrance, when you sit for meditation, you know what to do. That takes time to get convinced about these things and to remember them and using that conviction and memory, sitting on seat of meditation, and in that heated meditation, totally we reject the world outer and inner, and we see the self. That is taking time. But the theory is this much only. No world without chitta, no chitta without the self. Self is there without chitta and the world. That is what you have to reach the stage of liberation. And where is the chitta and world? Only one place. Tat chittataya eva tad gruhyate. It's only your choice, your sankalpa. If compulsory hai, taking the world as real, how come sannyasis are giving up? If it is compulsory, they also should not give up. If the giving up of the world is natural, why you and I as samsari not able to give up? It's not natural, you have to practice it. What is the practice? Actually, conclusion may the wrong practice is removed by right practice. Entire spirituality is nothing to do, but it is only to undo. Undoing is spirituality. Then the being always is there, that is realized. You know, the vasanas we created, you have to remove. The desires we created, we have to drop. The dehaditadatmya we are maintaining, we have to drop. Reality given to the world, we did, we have to drop. Forgotten the self, we did, so we have to remember it. Undoing is done of what is done, then the self is realized. In this way, so many angles when we keep on listening, little by little, depth starts coming to us in the form of first understanding the concept. Then you have to work on that. You have to work on that. Whether they are values, whether spiritual practice of bhakti, bhajana, kirtana, you have to work on that. Guru bhakti, you have to work on that. Shastra bhakti, you have to work on that. Samaja seva, you have to work on that. The principles, you have to work on that. Respect to my parent, you have to work on it. सिर्फ सुनने से कुछ नहीं होता. When you work on it, then you start getting depth, familiarity, truth of it you will realize. This shloka again, some more plus repetition. It is required. That much we will do. And 3 shlokas he gives as an example to prove that it is only in Chitta Sankalpa and that is in your own choice. Whose choice you are? You means what? Who the Jiva? फाइनल बात क्या बताऊं? जीव के रूप में रहना चाहते तो रहते रह सकते हो eternally as long as you want. Drop जीव भावा and you want to be one with Parabrahma, you can be that also. Choice तुम्हारा है. Guru and God are also only catalysts. They won't force you if you want to be Jiva to make you Atma. And they can't stop you from becoming Atma if you want to. They can't force you to be Jiva. Becoming Atma means realizing self. Okay. Yata swapnamayo jivaha jayate mrite picha tata jivami sarve bhavanti na bhavanti cha. Yata mayamayo jivaha jayate mrite picha tata jivami sarve bhavanti na bhavanti cha. Yata nirmitako jivaha jayate mrite picha tata jivami sarve bhavanti na bhavanti cha. न कश्चित् जायते जीवः सम्भवोऽस्य न विद्यते एतत्तदुत्तमं सत्यमेत्र किञ्चित् न जायते चित्तस्पन्दितमेवेदं ग्राह्यग्राहकवद्वयं चित्तं निर्विषयं नित्यमसङ्गं तेन कीर्तितम् योऽस्ति कल्पितं मृत्या परमार्थेन नास्त्यसौ परतन्त्राविसंवृत्या स्यान्नास्ति परमार्थतः अजः कल्पितसंवृत्या परमार्थेन नाप्यजः परतन्त्राविनिष्पत्या संवृत्या जायते तु सः अभूताविनिवेशोऽस्ति द्वयं तत्र न विद्यते द्वयाभावनं समुद्भैव निर्निमित्तो न जायते यदा लभते हेतुरुत्तमादो मध्यमान् तदा न जायते चित्तं हेतुभावे फलं कुतः निमित्तस्य चित्तस्य यान् उत्पत्तिसमाद्वया अजातस्यैव सर्वस्य चित्तदृश्यं हि तद्यतः ऊर्ध्वा निमित्तां सत्यां हेतुं पृथगनुमाप्नुवन् वीतशोकं तथा कामम् अभयं बलम् अश्नुते अभूतानिवेशाद्य सदृशे तत्प्रवर्तते वस्तु अभावं समुद्भवेन संगमिवर्तते. So each of these श्लोकास are highest level, डबल ट्रिपल PhD लेवल के हैं वो. पहले मुझे पढ़कर समझकर धीरे आपको समझना. I am trying. I'm also, no, they are teachers, but they just now joined teachers are there in the school. उनको किताब पकड़ना नहीं आता. They can't write on the blackboard. They can't tell the teach children. ऐसे होते हैं. Even I am like, with regard to this text. So both of us that way put our due efforts and to revel in the present while living in the class. After that, maybe 5-10 minutes थोड़ा सोचो, so that gets deposited as your effortful result as knowledge. That's how slowly, steadily. And while doing so, keep guarding yourself from newer samsara. And also keep praying to the Ishvara, hey Bhagavan, make me more deeper in my understanding. more true to my understanding in sadhana, and give me the glimpses of the joy of being the self, so that when I taste it, I work for it more and more. I won't go into the bad earlier things. Is it not? Because all bad habits go away only by one thing when you do good habits. Desha Virakti will go away when you have Desha Bhakti. That's it. Bhagavad Virakti go away when you have become Bhagavad Bhakta. Dvesha toward the people goes away only when you love them. So to Tattva Chintana, Tattvanubhuti alone will remove the Jagat Chintana and Jagat Samsara. So ask the Lord this one. It will be answered. That asking creates a Shubha Ichha. So if you believe in the Ishvara's presence, he will bless by answering it. Or that asking becomes your own strong Sankalpa. Then whatever you do the Sankalpa strongly and repeatedly, that is what you adopt later on. Is it not? That principle also works. Like if I say, I have to give up all this lecture, Vaji, and all this nonsense, useless, sit for meditation deeper. If I entertain this thought from now for next 10 years, after 10 years, none of you, nothing will be there in my life, only in my dhyana. So you can say it is by the grace of Ishvara or your own sankalpa. जो भी हो जो होना है हो रहा है कि नहीं. Do the other sankalpa in this life. I miss this sukha, that bhoga. I want this and that. Markar, you will get that only. But that is again binding. So I am adding examples to that thought that along with guarding ourselves, along with contemplating on the truth as much we know, we should also do sankalpa and pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, keep me on the path more and more. इतना ही मांगो भगवान लक्ष्य के प्रति मार्ग में मुझे आगे बढ़ने दो. Remaining all he will do it. How he does, don't worry. And whenever he is doing, look in that happening his grace. Yeah. Om 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 Om. In our Divya Shakti series, today we remembered Bhagwan Sri Dattatreya. Om Dram Dattatreya Namaha. Om Dram Dattatreya Namaha. Om Dram Dattatreya Namaha. Chant that name, read Dattatreya Charitra, and know that Parabrahma only in the form of Dattatreya to empower us in yoga, which is very essential, to empower us in Siddhi, which is essential, to empower us to rise above the entire gross, subtle, causal worlds and give the Atmanubhuti, which is very essential. Read the Dattatreya Stotrams, Dattatreya Kavachams, Dattatreya Mantras. Keep for a few months Datta Upasana. It will tremendously help. Now, all these which we said about Mother or Shiva or Ganapati to Dattatreya, when we keep on doing, then we get empowered at all levels of personality, divinized. Mind you, none of these gods will bind you to Dvaita Jagat. उनको पता है जीव को आत्मा मिला तभी लिबरेट होगा. All these will guide us towards that. And at that level, what we are studying Upanishads now becomes strongly a desired object or the commitment. Then we will pursue only this. अब क्या हुआ? Because of the grace of these gods, we have come up to study level. So study is happening nicely. Again, with the same grace of the Lord, we become strong in our understanding. Then we should become strong in meditation and realization. Is it not? Therefore, we are seeking their grace for the next level. This all is based on this understanding that today, if you are able to listen to Upanishad or all this, it is grace of Bhagwan to which we prayed earlier, whether it's in this life or earlier life. मैं तो इस पे पक्का बिलीव करता हूँ. Without my prayer and without Bhagavad Kripa, in this life studying Shastra and trying to understand would have been impossible. With that basis of faith, now I am praying. Lord, you brought me up to the class level, but let it be more confirmed in my clear intellectual understanding. Then next prayer is, let me mean it. Let me do only that dhyana to know the truth. Then you give me the experience. So clear it is. So this upasanas of ours, of every day one God, to take us to the next level. It's not contradiction to our Advaita Brahmanubhuti. For that only, these higher powers are required to us. They will help us. They are there. They are around there. They are meant for that. Lord appears in the form of all the avatara, both for Yoga Kshema and Yoga Kshema. Mamekam Shanam Braja. Mukti Mukti Pradata Cha Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Same with Dattatreya also. Dattatreya Hari Sakshat Mukti Mukti Pradayaka. Varanasi Purasnai Kolhapura Digambara Mahavirupura Dihe Saheshana. All these mantras talk about he gives both. Bhukti is to live and life is for mukti. They give both. You will remember. Advaita Vedanta never contradicts upasanas. It tells through upasana when you equip, discover the upasana deva to be your own self, and at the level of self, the upasana is meditation. Tomorrow we'll see Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishite Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. It's wonderful to have you all. Good. Hello. 10 minutes I need from you for our Gita Parayana.